Isaac, where are we right now?
We're in my garage. In my weight room, actually, if you guys can tell. I've got pictures from the Chargers up. It's great.
Well, do you want to tell people who I am?
Yeah, okay.
I am in your garage too. Like
Yes.
I am on the other side, and there might be flies.
Yeah, there are flies in here, but that doesn't matter for the show. Welcome back to another episode of Don't Worry, I'll Ask. This is actually a really important piece of what we're doing. You know, it advances the narrative of the why behind me starting this show. I just went to Washington, D.C. and had a really cool opportunity to go to the White House. And obviously, I wanted to talk about it on my social media. And by the way, who wouldn't want to go to the White House? Professional athletes, I played in the NFL. I see these NFL guys, after they win a Super Bowl, they refuse to go to the White House. And I always think to myself, if you had the opportunity to go to the White House, why would you not go? It doesn't matter what you believe. It doesn't matter who you voted for. Why would you not take an opportunity to go to the White House? So I had that mentality. I showed up. I was super excited to be there. And like I said, I was excited to share the process with you guys. When I was there, I got a chance to meet a number of people. One of the people in particular that I met was Karoline Leavitt. Now, Karoline Leavitt is highly controversial, and I got absolutely torched by a lot of people who think very similar to the way that I think, which was surprising. So basically, I said, you know what, whatever episode we have, we're not going to post that. I want to sit down and have a conversation with my audience about what just happened in my life. So my producer, Chris, is in the background. He's going to ask me questions and kind of like drive this conversation. So in a sense, I'm the one getting interviewed about the experience I just had. So he's going to be, quote unquote, interviewing me.
Isaac, let's waste no time.
I love Chris's radio voice. So I don't know what the waste no time question is. So this is good. Got to keep the integrity of the show. That's the whole point.
Waste no time. Is it possible to be neutral in a political environment today?
I figured that's where we were going. Is it possible to be neutral in the environment we're in today? I think the answer is no. You can't be neutral. I think like everything that we have politically, or everything that we see with our leadership, our president, everything is very divisive. It's almost like forced divisiveness. Like that is what they're trying to accomplish in a lot of ways. And I think it's impossible to be neutral. I think you have to make a decision with a number of things. Now, where I do think you can be neutral, or at least where I feel like I have the obligation to be neutral, is with my audience. Because I feel like in a lot of ways I'm like a mirror for my audience. I'm a reflection of my audience. So I'm trying to do my best to be neutral so that you guys can have as much information as possible. So
when did you first meet Karoline Leavitt?
Well, when I went to DC, I have to give some context here. When I went to DC the first time to interview Cory Booker, we interviewed two Republican congresswomen. I met some folks from the White House at a cocktail hour that I had one of the nights that I was in DC. One of the gentlemen that I met was the guy who runs the POTUS account, which is a really big deal.
This is the guy who leads the POTUS account. So when Joe Biden was president, someone else had the POTUS account.
Correct.
Ran that. This guy now runs the Trump POTUS account.
Correct.
Okay.
If you don't know what POTUS stands for, it's President of the United States. So, I mean, this guy sends me memes that he creates that get posted.
Did you see the Superman meme?
Yes.
The one that of Trump as Superman?
Yes. It's very Trump culture coded. Mm-hmm. So I met this guy, got his email. I'm a master networker. I'm sitting in a Notre Dame chair, and it's one of the biggest things we learned at Notre Dame is networking. But I emailed him immediately, and I gave him a list of people I wanted to interview that were on the Republican side. Karoline Leavitt was one of them. So I was hoping when I got invited back out to the White House by another member of his team that she was somebody that I would meet and maybe interview.
What about Karoline Leavitt do you love? And tell people who Karoline Leavitt is for those who don't know.
So Karoline Leavitt is the person, when you watch a briefing or you watch a press conference on Fox News, CNN, any news station, she is the woman who comes up and addresses everybody. And they grill her with questions for an hour on any topic. And she has to be prepared to answer all of them. The reason I want to interview her is one, because in a lot of ways I identify as a Democrat and my audience knows that. And she's somebody from the other side of the aisle that I think is really important to talk to. I mean, look, when it comes to communicating information to the American people, other than Donald Trump and J.D. Vance, she's pretty much like third in line for getting that information to people. Why would I not want to interview her? I look at it in two ways. One, Karoline Leavitt is somebody who is highly controversial, believes a lot of things that I don't believe, and the opposite of what I've interviewed.
But you seem to like Karoline Leavitt personally.
Which, okay, so this is the other side, which I was going to mention.
Yeah.
I just got a TV job. I'm going to the Chargers training camp in like a week to interview people, and like now that's my world. At the end of the day, she does TV. Like, she's a TV person. I totally 1,000% respect the craftsmanship that she has towards the art form of being on TV. So don't know her personally, but I know her to a certain degree, and she's really, really talented at her job.
I think you once said to me that Karoline Leavitt's got the dog in her.
I told her that. Karoline Leavitt's got that dog in her. It's funny. Here's what I'll say about her. Again, she gets really worked up, and she's borderline mean to people that she's communicating with that are interviewing her and asking her questions.
Mm-hmm. Which is usually people in the press corps.
Correct. So the point that I'm trying to make as far as calling her a dog is like, look, she's taking bullets. Like, there's people from CNN that are just grilling her, and she's got to sit up there, take these bullets, and fire back. She can't just be a pushover. And I think it's impressive. When I think about my daughter and who I want her to be and attributes that I want her to be, I want her to be honest. I want her to be convicted about whatever she's passionate about. And I want her to be a dog. I don't want her to just sit around and let people say what they want. I want her to be able to push back. And there's pieces of Karoline Leavitt and what she does that I look at and I'm like, no, I actually really respect that. It's a 27-year-old woman. She's younger than both of us.
She's the youngest press secretary in United States history.
What are we talking about? You know, I got a lot of respect for that. Now, again, and this is what we'll get into, even me saying that will warrant a tremendous amount of hate. And that's what's challenging. And forgive the flies that are flying around. I am in my garage.
We are in the garage, but it looks good.
It does look good. But yeah, so it's like she's talented.
Okay, let's talk to that day. What is it like to get ready and go to the White House, and what did you do? What was the day like?
A couple interesting things happened. One, I posted the day before I was going to the White House saying, I'm going to DC, so excited, yada, yada, yada. And they actually were like, can you take this down?
Oh, the White House said that?
Yes. They don't want you talking about it before. So they asked me to take it down. I also had to fill out a Secret Service, like, full thing, because they have to screen you, like, it's crazy.
You passed the Secret Service test?
They don't tell you, but I went to the gate and I was like, you know, hey, here's my license. And I was like, hopefully I passed and don't have some random, you know, parking tickets I didn't pay. So then again, you get there, you go through 2 levels of security and then eventually make it to the East Wing of the White House. The gentleman that I was meeting, Brock is his name, met Brock there and then he took me.
Escorting you.
Yeah.
Okay.
But it was crazy. I'm actually glad I get to talk about this because I don't know where else I would even talk about this.
Yeah.
So then we go to the White House lunchroom. So this is crazy. And this is a story that I will tell people. You walk in the East Wing. First off, there's photos of Trump everywhere. Like, everywhere.
Of him in particular.
Yes. By the way, I went 2 days after the Israeli president was there. Already photos of him and the Israeli president up. Framed. Big photo. Like, I'm talking... It's crazy. So then I'm walking through with this guy, going to this lunchroom. First off, he's like, don't record anything. Because this now we're in like a very exclusive part of the White House that people don't see.
Okay.
We're at this point, I've now entered like the secret part of the White
inner
House.
echelon. Okay.
The inner esh.
Okay.
So you walk in this part of the White House. There's photos of Trump everywhere. And I asked the guy, I go, is like, who's choosing these photos? Because they're everywhere. And he was like, he is choosing these photos. Which is very interesting. You can take from that what you want, but they're everywhere. They line the whole building. There's also some classic, you know, photos that have probably been there for 200 years, but mixed in are these photos of Trump and things that he's doing. So then you go downstairs in this basement, go to the lunchroom, and it's hard to even describe it as a lunchroom. This feels like you're in National Treasure. It's white tablecloths. It's like you're at a fine dining restaurant downstairs. And I sit down, very quiet. I mean, there's 2 other tables that are eating. It's very quiet. Like, nobody's like yelling.
Okay. What time of day is this?
7:30 a.m.
Okay, so it's early.
Early.
Okay.
I get the menu. I look at the menu. I'm like, I was like, do you mind? Lady's name was Jamie, just for fun, who is the waitress who's probably worked there for 30 years.
Yeah.
There's only one person, just her, running all these tables. And I go, do you mind if I just freestyle? Can I just like get whatever? And the person I was with laughed and was like, you can literally order anything. So then I was like, I'll take egg whites with peppers, onions, spinach, mushrooms, and wheat toast.
You didn't do like lobster Benedict?
No, I should have. But then it came out super fast, and that's all she wrote. The lady literally, Jamie, came out and was like, thanks for coming. I mean, it was really a cool experience. Not to go on a rant, but it was cool.
So
yeah, well, and just to even give you more context to like that, the importance of that area and like why I felt so cool being there. Like they were like, yeah, Trump, I mean, he doesn't drive, but they were like, you know, his cars are usually parked right here. And like, I mean, we were like in like, I mean, think about like his parking lot at the White House.
Or
right?
Biden or Obama, whoever was president.
Or any president.
Just,
and like,
right.
well, that's even crazier to think, you know, the leaders that came before him, it's just so heavily like Trump coded that it doesn't even feel like, oh, other presidents were. It just feels so Trump stamped. So then we come back upstairs. Keep in mind, like we're in the same place that the Oval Office is. Like, so essentially the lunchroom's under the Oval Office. It's crazy.
Wow. Okay.
Before I get into it, I want to mention my first interaction with her office, which would include her, was meeting somebody from her team that had responded to a story that I posted asking about the ICE raids. And this guy responded like very aggressively. Keep in mind, he's talking to Karoline Leavitt every single day.
What was the question you posted and what was the interaction like online?
I was just like, what's your thoughts on the ICE raids? Very neutral.
To your followers.
And he was like, stop gaslighting. The picture that you're using for this paints a certain narrative. Literally, I walked in and he was like, I DM'd you. And I was like, did I respond? He goes, yeah, you said thanks for responding, which when I say thanks for responding to somebody,
yeah.
If you DM me and I respond, thanks for responding, that is my like bite my tongue moment. That's like my you catch more flies with honey than vinegar moment where it's like, thank you so much for responding. It's like my bless your heart Southern moment. So I literally, I told you what I posted, just a simple picture of ICE raids. And I said, what do you think? His response was, stop gaslighting. This image isn't showing immigration enforcement. It's showing riot police officers trying to bring calm order back to the streets. You're using your platform to sell fake narratives and CNN and the rest of the media are pushing. How about you show what's really happening and show cars on fire, officers injured, and the graffiti saying kill ICE? So obviously has a very strong opinion.
Right.
I welcome that though. I mean, that's the whole point of what I do. But I think it's also very inappropriate that as somebody who's essentially working in government is responding that way. He had a unique opportunity to catch more flies with honey and he chose vinegar. But we can call him by name. Harrison works for Karoline Leavitt's office.
Okay.
So I'm sitting there with him and his boss, Brock and his boss, and we're just talking about all these things, right? And we're having such a powerful dialogue, which keep in mind, I was one of the first non-Republican people that they brought in. Puts a lot of, like obligation on me as a black non-Republican. Like I got to go in there with a purpose. I can't go in there passively. When I'm on the plane going there, I'm thinking, what is my point? Okay. What is the point of me being here? And what is my conviction? But we're having these conversations and I'm like calling these things out because one of the things that was mentioned is Democrats are too empathetic. I don't know. And we just got talking about that. And it's like, again, why is empathy a bad thing? Like we live in a country where our day-to-day interaction, our ability to be empathetic is really more important than gas prices. You know, like who cares how much you're paying for gas prices? You get gas once a week. I interact with people every hour. So my interaction with a human being is more important than anything. We should be preaching empathy. I was telling them like, I felt super patriotic during the 4th of July. And it was because I was seeing all these videos of people talking about the Iran bombing, which whether you agree with it or not, that's not the point of this conversation. I was seeing people make videos that were like, hey, Iran, don't include us. You know, like we weren't the ones who chose this. And I felt like it was such a strong opportunity because that was happening a ton. Such a strong opportunity for our president to address the country and go, look, I get there's people at home that are terrified. I get it. What you should feel good about is I'm not terrified. And I know way more than you know. Also, what a great opportunity for us to come together. What an opportunity for us to really go, you know what, at a minimum, we're American. And I was explaining that to these gentlemen. Like, I wish we had a president that did that. Of course, they had their they had their opinions on that. But I was like, if you go look at Truth Social, you go look at Twitter, and that's all you had. It's all the information you had. You would think we had a very aggressive, divisive individual running our country. And so the point that I'm trying to make is these are the conversations we were having in the White House, in the basement.
Yeah.
So let's fast forward. I'm at the White House. I take a picture with Karoline Leavitt. I post it. I invite people to accept the idea of people on different sides of the aisle sitting down and having a conversation. And it was so misunderstood. I mean, I got absolutely torched in the 45 minutes that I had this up. It was heartbreaking for me, absolutely heartbreaking for me because, again, you're hearing the conversations we were having. And I'm like, how do people not see that this is the point? You know, it's like the TikTok trend, like, I almost forgot this was the point of it all. Like, the point was for me to not believe what they believe and be in those settings. They don't let everybody in who doesn't believe what they believe in those situations. Mm-hmm. Karoline Leavitt and all the individuals in the Trump administration are protective. People in the Obama administration or the Biden administration they're protective. And so I felt like it was such an obligation and a moment for me to be there. And then I post this picture, and it was people who believe the same thing that I believe that are attacking me for it. And I just cannot understand how, if you don't agree with somebody, the answer is to not take the opportunity to talk to them. That's not
or get to know them.
Right. Christians, by the way, think about this. Christians on both sides of the aisle, regardless, Jesus, one of the best convincers, right? Whatever you want to call him, best convincer, sat with people who didn't believe him, who thought he was an idiot, who hated him, who literally crucified him. If he posted a picture in today's world, literally with somebody, people killing him, the Pharisees, I mean, people would be like, what are you doing, Jesus? Why are you with the Pharisees? I can't believe that. Why are you? And he's like, I'm just trying to spread the gospel by any means possible. Now, not that intense, but I think you understand the point that I'm trying to make. And that's why it hurts so bad because I'm so passionate about this. And it's like, I was just so thankful to represent my audience and be in this setting and have this opportunity. And then I post a picture and it's like, it's totally missed. So what's my conclusion? And then I'll let you ask some more questions. My conclusion is, okay, when it gets tough, double down. I got to look at myself. Did I communicate the message properly to my audience? No, obviously not. But when we first started this, one of the first posts we did was the pillars. And I said I was going to keep the audience accountable. We have to be more receptive. Like, that was the whole point of the post. Like, the people who follow this account, the people who watch this show, we have to be more receptive. And I say we have a good opportunity. The audience has an opportunity, and we don't need to fumble the bag. Because, like, it's going to happen. Karoline Leavitt's going to come on the show, and there's a lot of people who don't agree with her. But, like, let's not miss the point and ruin the opportunity to have, like, something really special. They're doing those creator lunches. I think they do them weekly.
So they're doing creator lunches weekly, but you're thinking it's mostly with Republican creators?
I know it is.
Oh, interesting.
By the way,
talk about that.
Yeah, well, I'll say this too. They have, I think, invited a number of Democrat, I'm not going to say a number, a small, few Democratic leaning creators, but they say no, they don't go.
Every Democratic, okay, yeah, not every.
I don't know if everyone has not gone, but like they've even had some people that a lot of people, or an individual that he gave me an example of that a lot of people on here would know, who I'm not going to say, who was going to go and his team was like, no, don't go. I didn't go. I have a PR agency, I have an agency. I didn't ask any of them about this.
Yeah, you just went.
I just went.
You told me because we had to adjust scheduling, but yeah.
Yeah, but it's like and that's why I wish people understood, like, that's the point. Like, I'm trying to be that guy purposely. Mm-hmm. But it requires effort from the audience to be receptive.
It seems like the theme of actually what we're talking about here is having a seat at the table.
That's it. God forbid we have a seat at the table. Mm-hmm. And this is something deeper. And then I want to get a little bit more into the some of the things that were said to me.
Good.
After the Karoline Leavitt post. I had this moment, and this is really, really deep, and I'm not trying to make it this deep, but I had this moment where I thought about like, okay, 200 years ago, like my family was enslaved. Like that is just a matter of fact. My family would be disgusted back then if they were like, oh, you've got a chance to potentially meet the president, meet some of the most influential people in government, and you're not gonna go? And we're working in these fields and and you're not gonna go represent us? And like, again, that's the most extreme example, but it's so true. Like people literally cannot pay for groceries. People are getting ripped away from their families with these ICE raids. And if you have somebody that can at least go there, and if there's 100 steps to take, if they take a quarter of one of those steps, that's a huge win. We got to get there somehow. And I'll say one more thing. What, in my observation, if I post something that's controversial, if I post Gavin Newsom, we'll take Gavin Newsom, posting about him, and posting about Karoline Leavitt, hardcore Democrat, hardcore Republican.
Right.
When I post about Gavin Newsom, Republicans attack Gavin Newsom, which is fine. That creates dialogue in the comments and amongst my followers. When I posted about Karoline Leavitt, Democrats attacked me. Like, I'm the bad guy. Why are you talking to her? She's awful and you're talking to her? Don't you know all this stuff is happening and you're talking to her? And so I just thought it was super interesting to just observe the way that Democrats and Republicans attacked my accounts after posting two very radically different political figures. It was interesting.
Well, do you want to go through some of the...
So this was a message that I got after getting hundreds of comments that were negative. This was a message that I read and I was like, okay, this is being deeply misunderstood.
Okay.
And again, I'll take a huge responsibility for that.
Yeah.
I obviously did something wrong, but I'll just read it. I'll read exactly what I said. I said, should you sit down with people you disagree with? Absolutely. That's part of being human. My goal isn't to only talk with people who think like me. That's not real life. If I'm going to represent my audience, I need to be willing to engage with everyone, not just the folks who echo my beliefs. We need more of that in this country, real honest conversation across the divide, not for clicks, not for show, but for listening. Even when it's uncomfortable, it's how we move forward. So again, very straightforward message. And then we'll include this on the screen. And then I posted the picture with Karoline Leavitt.
Okay.
I mean, she gets torched. Everybody who's done public stuff with her that's not super Republican gets tore up. So somebody messaged me and goes, there's a major difference between disagreeing with someone on policy and having a dialogue and promoting someone who is lying through their teeth. It really is unfortunate that you are using your platform for these individuals who are blatantly lying, tearing families apart, and cutting benefits for those who are already suffering. I understand having a dialogue, but I don't think America needs more people in politics who are actively destroying democracy and the democratic process. So again, she's like, it's okay to talk to people who you disagree with, but why are you giving these people, why are you putting them on your platform? So it's like, okay, what are my options then? A, not to talk to her, or B, talk to her and just don't talk about it. Which I don't think either of those things create change and are like forward thinking. And I said, it's so disheartening.
Okay, so this is your response to the...
Correct.
Okay, go ahead.
I go, it's so disheartening to have these conversations. It really does make me sad. I have more access than so many of my followers, and I'm truly trying to do my best to promote positive change. It breaks my heart to see people dismiss it so fast. And I said, super disappointed in my community. I was. And I would never not be honest about that. And she said, I'm not trying to be dismissive, but I work in government. I have had to reach across the aisle, and I do think it is important, but there's a difference between denying facts and debating. The fact that these people have promoted and pushed through policies that actively harm people is so different than just passing a tax bill. I hope you are holding these people accountable in private, and I know in public you are trying to promote a dialogue, but the way in which you have gone about it can cause a lot of distress, especially due to the passage of the big, beautiful bill. Okay, so that's pretty chill, but
that seems like a pretty...
That seems like a fair response. But again, it's like, and let me read some of the comments.
Okay.
Interesting that you're willing to give yet another platform for a woman who is willing to stand behind a president who is deporting American citizens as well as making concentration camps. You do not have the skill set to handle these people responsibly. Disappointed to see this. Unfollowing. Don't fraternize with her. Comments don't pass the vibe check. So whatever. I'm not going to keep going through them, but I just feel like, again, it was like the energy was very much like, no, don't sit down with her. When I started getting a bunch of comments, I was like, maybe this doesn't have enough context.
Waste no time.
Yeah.
Do you think you have the skill set to talk to someone like Karoline Leavitt in a way that's productive for this audience?
Absolutely. I mean, look, I'm super confident in my ability to have conversations with somebody like this. I think here's what's challenging. This is a tough question to answer because what's challenging is the skill set that I think a lot of people that agree, like that think like me, a lot of Democrats, I think they're wanting somebody to just like constantly push back and like disagree with everything that somebody like her says. My goal is to just ask complicated questions and then let the audience take from it what they want. So, I don't know. I mean, yes, I think so. I think we do an incredible job preparing for people. I think we've also gotten better and better in like our approach and like how to create questions and dialogue with certain individuals. But yeah, like I told you, like one of the first questions I want to ask her is like, why do you think that I get torched when I post about you? Why do you think people don't trust you so much? Why do I post a picture of you and I have to take it down because you're such the bad guy?
We'll waste no time. What does it mean to hold someone like Karoline Leavitt accountable?
In an interview sense?
A lot of the followers said, you're not holding her accountable, or you don't have the skill set to hold her accountable, or you know what I mean? Like implying that she's smarter than you,
right,
or that she's gonna, like just run circles around, or,
yeah.
you know what I mean?
Which, by the way, she is an expert in running circles around things.
Yeah,
That's her job. And
exactly.
that, by the way, the person that worked for Biden that did the same job was also an expert in doing that.
Right.
It's just the nature of the position. Look, my goal is not to get in a debate with Karoline Leavitt or any Republican or any Democrat. It's just simply to put them in positions to have to answer questions that people have problems with. Like, you have been fact-checked and lied about things while doing briefs. Why should anybody trust anything you say? Your job is to sit up there and come up with the best answer in the moment that may be a version of the truth or a version of a lie. Like, how do you deal with that? I mean, a question is, how do you sleep at night when so many people hate you? Because I think it's fascinating because you either have to not care or think they're all idiots. There's no there's no situation where you have like, where you're like, dang, like I actually feel really bad about people thinking I'm lying. You either don't care or you think they're idiots. So like, those are the types of things I would want to lean into with her. I'm not getting in a debate with her or anybody else.
Right. It seems to me that your ultimate goal, that as I've gotten to know you, is to bring back some of the middle.
Yeah.
That we've lost.
Yeah, I think
over the last 10 years, 20 years, whatever, however long people want to define whatever the middle is on our political spectrum. Because now it's either you're Democrat or you're Republican. Like,
the middle is huge right now, by the way. The middle is huge, I think. I think you have more moderate Republicans, more moderate Democrats than you've ever had. Also, I think you have more people that identify as independent. Look, when I post stories and I say, who'd you vote for or how'd you vote, people are insulted that I don't say independent as a third category. Like if I have people vote. So I think more than ever, it's the middle moderate voter is huge. Now, I don't think people they don't have a safe haven in a moderate candidate, which is, I think is the problem. And then also all the while, the extremes are like crazy. I mean, the extreme liberal and the extreme conservative is wild.
I think that's what we're actually talking about here, right? Gavin Newsom would be considered extreme liberal, extreme left. Karoline Leavitt would be considered extreme right, extreme conservative, right? And so as someone who wants to represent or broaden the middle, how do you have conversations with people who represent in the public's mind extreme sides of both and bring them to the middle, bring them to the table, so to speak? To me, that feels like that's the goal of you having these conversations, when you're talking to politicians on the show. Is that an accurate assessment?
Totally. I mean, I think in a lot of ways we're just, like I always say, I'm trying to create like a juxtaposition. I'm trying to put them in an environment where they're not talking to somebody who's an extreme Democrat or somebody who's extreme and agrees with them. Like, I'm trying to talk to them as a human being and somebody who's like, look, this is what my audience is saying. This is my experience. I live in LA. I'm seeing these protests that 99% of are not violent. I'm seeing these things, yada, yada, yada.
Not every car is on fire.
Yeah, not every Waymo is burning.
To Harrison's point, yeah. Yeah.
And more than anything, who cares what's actually happening? The hearts of people, like, people are scared.
Yeah.
You don't have to have, like, that. You can't quantify fear. Mm-hmm. So, like, just to be in those conversations like that and talk about it like that. And again, hey, why do you think people don't trust you? Why do you think so many Americans don't trust you? Like, if I was interviewing President Trump, it's like, there's so many black people that are like, feel disenfranchised, they feel worse off, they feel attacked because you're in office. Trans, gay, the LGBTQ plus community feels attacked because he's in office. The question is not what policy have you done? The question is not like how many, like what percentage of increase of black voters did you get? I don't care. It's why do people feel that way? You know what I mean? It's like, and that's the question I was having in the basement of this White House in this lunchroom. It's like, why does it feel so different? I loved one of the guys that I was sitting down with. He goes, people always talk about Trump deporting. Obama deported way more people. I'm like, I love that you brought it up. Why does it feel so different? You're bringing up a great point. Obama deported double the people that Trump has deported year over year, which a lot of Democrats need to know that stat. But why does this feel so incredibly different? And that's a question that has nothing to do with policy. It has nothing to do with debating. It has nothing to do with pushing back and like platforming somebody. It's just, why do people feel that way? I need you to answer that. Oh, and if it was Donald Trump, it'd be like, you're the president. People should feel better after hearing this interview. So like, can you make people feel better? Because they're scared right now. Yeah, I don't know. It's tough though.
All right, so we talked about Harrison, right? The person in
our
boy Harrison. Tell me about that interaction with him and like the full circle moment you had with him.
Well, of course, like I said, he messaged me and said, stop gaslighting. So when he DM'd me after I left and was like, dude, it was so nice to meet you, I was like, bro, just stop gaslighting. Like, we were having like that level of sarcastic, fun conversation. I think it's important. And I posted this on my story.
Because you met him and you interacted
which
with
was
him.
Crazy.
Yeah.
I'll say this. Here's the thing. I fundamentally completely disagree with like most of the things he believes. I disagree with the way that he interacted with me. I disagreed with the way that he's using his platform given his job. I think it's inappropriate. But the next story I posted after he messaged me that was using a different image. So, and I told him that. Point that I'm trying to make is you can still have progress with people you don't agree with. He made me better because he said that. I gave a better message to my audience because he said something that I completely disagree with. That is like very much a microcosm of what we're trying to create. Like, can meeting with Karoline Leavitt, can the Democrats who follow me watching this interview with Karoline Leavitt, can that make us better? Like, and we haven't interviewed her. It's not scheduled. So I'm just speaking as if it is.
Yeah.
But can we get better watching that? It doesn't always have to be like, no, don't do it. We don't trust her. We don't trust him. Let's not talk. Let's take the information we have and let's be introspective and try to get better. So it actually was cool. Like, him and I, every time we interact, one of us is going to change just a tad. Right? Like either closer to the other person or closer to the middle or whatever you want to call it, further away. Every single interaction is going to cause a little bit of a change. Better, worse, whatever. But that change is what it doesn't happen unless those conversations happen. He's going to work every single day interacting with people who believe exactly what he believes, probably doesn't have many friends that don't believe what he believes. And we're just trying to create a little bit of change every single day.
It's the seat at the table thing. I keep coming back to the seat at the table.
Seat at the table. Look, I represent my audience. I'm proud to represent my audience. I do not want to get into politics. Like, I 0% want to get into politics. This is not like, I don't want this to be a political podcast. It's just, I have to take these opportunities to talk to these people. Like, that is my obligation. I'm doing everybody a disservice with my millions of followers if I'm just like, no, I want to go talk to a bunch of influencers about the latest drama, which, listen, we love the tea and we will always get the tea. There's a number, like Jojo Siwa, Sierra Ortega, like, we want to interview both of you guys ASAP. So if you're listening, we want to interview you. But we're also going to have tough conversations with politicians, and we should. You know, the fact that we got Gavin Newsom when we did, and that extremely important moment was very awesome. And the word I use is poignant. It made sense at the moment. So what's the conclusion? Who do you want me to talk to? Like, I want to know who the audience wants me to chat with, because I'm not scared. Now, I learned a lot from this interaction with my audience on Karoline Leavitt. I have an obligation to communicate information the proper way. But who do you want to talk to? You asked for a Republican. We went out and we're actively trying to get Republicans. Again, for me, it was a moment to reflect and go, am I communicating this properly to my audience? Am I using this position recklessly? Is there a more responsible way to, like, have these conversations and bring it to my audience safely to where people feel like we are moving forward? But the beauty of it is you don't have to worry about it, because at least, if nothing else, I'm going to ask the questions. I'm going to do everything that I can do to have a seat at the table and be there, because I'm Isaac Rochelle and this is Don't Worry, I'll Ask. Yeah, you don't have to enjoy the show. This is usually the intro. Well, I hope you enjoyed the show, and hopefully we can do more episodes like this, but appreciate you guys tuning in.